What's up, guys? I know you missed us. It's the Quiggin Out Podcast. We dropped the MMA. We're doing all things pop culture. And what better way to kind of start this out? We've had some incredible guests, we've had some amazing musicians, and now we've got an incredible artist and podcaster himself, man. Kevin Davis. How you doing, man?
I'm tired, but can't complain, man.
Well,
How
I
you doing,
appreciate you
brother?
taking good, good, good. I appreciate you taking the time, man. And honestly, like I said, we've been trying to, kind of lock this down for a while. And I know both of our schedules, just everything was working against us. So I'm glad that we were
Literally,
able to,
yeah.
I'm glad we were able to get that done. So,
Heck yeah.
man, like get right into it. Like, tell me about your background because you've got your hand in everything. And I kind of feel like you've got that world's most interesting man vibe going for you. So tell me a little bit more
Interesting,
about the man who
interesting.
is Kevin Davis.
Man, that's a long story, so I'll give you the short version. I'm kidding. Well, where do I begin? So one, yeah, I'm a comic creator, author. I'm an entrepreneur. I do multiple different things, as you said, yeah. But when I started my entrepreneur journey, I actually started out creating clothing first.
Cool.
And learning designing clothes. And then I started out when I was 18 years old. So I've been an entrepreneur for about 8 years now.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And funny thing is, growing up, I didn't even had an interest in like doing any type of business. And I was like a very nonchalant, laid back kid. Just like I hear like so many people say, I want to be a nurse, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an actor, I want to do my own business. I'm just like, I don't know what the heck I want to do. I was like, I don't know if I have a purpose here. I was like, I don't know why God got me here in the first place. But like I was like, I know like but as started like growing interest in something, I basically got lazy and didn't like want to do it because I felt like it was boring. It didn't feel like it was basically it didn't feel natural to me
Yeah.
because I feel
Oh,
like
I
that
get that.
was
I get that
like
completely, man.
I felt like that was like there's something more, but I just don't know what the crap it is. And so I got distraught. I get disencouraged, and I was like, I don't know what the heck I want to do with my life. And so like in high school, I went to like my leadership camp every summer. It's called British Builders, where it's a camp where they teach us leadership and how to network and how to work as a team with people we don't know yet. So they always say like they have a rule: do not bring any electronics because they want us to learn the world before electronics.
Wow.
Yeah, because they
Dude,
want
that's a
us to.
crazy concept, especially in today.
Yep. Yeah, right. Because they want us to learn how to articulate and how to speak to each other and actually talk to humans and not have to be on the phone all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And because they're all about community and just helping our community and basically be there for each other. So we went around like picking up trash around our neighborhoods
Wow.
and like just helping people in general with things. And so that kind of started getting my inspiration, started growing, started like that. It's like that planted seed was there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then my mom's like, I want to be an inspiration. So that clicked up. I was like, I want to be an inspiration. I was like, I want to help people. I was like, even though I don't like people, but I have a heart for people. I was like, I've always been so very introverted. I was like, it's not like I don't like people. It's just overstimulating, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Look, I'm an introverted extrovert. Like that it's or an extroverted introvert. Like I don't mind people, but it's like sometimes you're like, I'd rather
Yeah,
not.
right. Yeah, and it's just gotten like really just like I can be social, but I have to be in the mood for it.
Yeah.
And also, I have to make sure you're actually a good person. Like if I feel like the vibe or like the atmosphere is off, I'm not gonna talk to you.
Yeah.
That's just period.
That's how it should be. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
we get too caught up in like I have to talk. No.
I was
Like
like,
if we don't
no.
like I would love it if we could just be like, listen, you were cool, now you're not. Bye. Like that's it. And social media has just allowed us to like,
Yeah,
just unfriend somebody. And I'm like, oh, that's
exactly.
all it took. Like,
That's
oh, okay.
cool. I'm like, that's cool. And then, but and actually found out like my writing gift was when I was in ninth grade of high school when
Wow. Yeah.
I
So
had
you
my
learned high school. Yeah.
yeah. And I hated writing with a passion, especially have to write history papers and English papers and just all these essays. But my ninth grade year, African American History Studies class, our first paper, my teacher graded us from like a level 1 to a 5.
Mhm.
Where it's like the level 1, it's like you need a lot of help and they're going to work with you more like separately.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull you aside. Like that's
Yeah,
what,
yeah. It's like 3 is like you're there, but I want to push you higher to that professional level 5 level.
mhm.
And so my first paper, I get it back. He said that I was a flat out level 3, and I was like, I love like me level
You're like
3.
me.
And he said, yes. He's like, you have beautiful writing, and I just want to push you to that higher level 5 level from college to professional. And that clicked in my head. I was like, I freaking hate writing, but I'm good at it. I was like, okay. And then like that really sparked the excitement within me, and like that fire just clicked, that took off. Right? And then I found out a couple years later, and as I get to like my senior year of high school, each my teachers were like, "Your writing has improved a lot." Like I literally go back to I literally remember back to like my original teacher from the previous year. I'm like, "Hey, look look at my grade I made on this paper," and they read it. It's like, "Oh my God, Kevin, okay."
I love it.
And I was like, "That is beautiful." And then I learned that my mother is actually a writer herself. She's been writing for years that I didn't even know about
That's how do you not know? That's
because
crazy.
she didn't really share it with us until we got older.
Mm, okay, that makes
Uh,
sense.
Yeah, and like, cause she showed me her poetry. She wrote written years ago when we were kids. She wrote poetry about me and my sister and how much she loved us as her kids. I was like, I wasn't trying to cry today, Mom. Jesus. And
But
that's
thanks a
that's
lot. Thanks a lot.
and that's when I fell in love with poetry. So I started writing. Like I'm like, I want to see if I can express myself in poetry
Hmm.
and then write poetry. And then I read her murder mystery book, her very first book she written. Yeah, and I was like, this, I cannot put that book down for life. I got it done. I got done with the day she gave it to me. And I was so mad when people called my name as I'm reading. I was like, ugh. It's
You're
like,
like, go away, go
bye.
away.
And that's when I really piqued my interest. I was like, can I do this? Like, I kind of actually, I was like, what if? Like, I had that what if question.
Hmm.
And I said, "Can I?" question. So I was like, I asked for advice. I asked my mom for advice, and it's like, "How did you like start writing these stories?" Like,
What prompted you? Yeah, what got you to
yeah,
that point? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And she told me, and she gave me like some beautiful advice. And she actually told me, I told her, I said, I hate writing with a passion. She said, when she's thinking about it, the thing you hate the most, you're actually really good at. I was like,
I think that applies to everything.
yeah.
Like, I've always been really good at sales and math. I don't like either one of them.
Man, yeah, right. Oh my God, just and so I started writing my first novel. It was about my life. And I published it around 2020, but I took it down in 2023 because one, I hated it, and two, I felt like I wasn't in the right headspace to actually
Interesting.
to have it out there. And plus, it was too vague. It wasn't really open. I wasn't open enough about it yet because I
Yeah.
wasn't confident yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And so now, ah, get to the meat part of my career. So now I'm actually officially picking it back up this year. Luckily, I picked it up last year, but I'm actually deep diving it back into it with a whole new experience now. Because now I'm actually able to articulate myself and express myself and just be me.
Yeah.
I got it, and I did not grow up reading comics. Fell in love with comics in 2020 when COVID hit. Like I'm already an introvert. I'm always in the house all the time anyway. In 2020, I was like, but I don't want to.
You
I
had to
don't want to be
figure out
sitting.
something. You had to
Yeah, I know,
figure out
right? I don't
something.
want. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like, I don't want to be sitting around watching TV all the time because that brainwash my. That's brain rotting. Like
Yeah.
that rots my brain. And so I surfed on TikTok. Just, I mean, I didn't know what TikTok was at the time. So I got on there. I'm like, okay, what is this? By the way, I grew up in an old school household, so I sound like an old man sometimes.
I know
And
what that's
so
like.
And so I learned about like Marvel and DC comics. I do their movies, the animations and stuff because I watch all of them and like
Well,
TV shows, but I never knew they were a different medium for them. And so I learned about they were comic books. I'm like, what the heck is a comic book? And so I was like, holy hell, how did I miss this? Like, what the hell? And then I bought like their digital property because I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it. It's new to me.
yeah,
I'm new to
exactly.
comic. And then so of course I started out with my Spider-Man because I grew up watching Spider-Man and I learned about Blade. It was a freaking comic of Marvel. I was like, are you kidding me? And then I'm a big fan of Hellboy from Dark Horse that I learned that was also a freaking comic book. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? What the
Right?
hell? And so I bought that physical because that's independent. independent. I was like, I'm gonna freaking buy some Hellboy physicals. I'm not gonna buy the digital. And then I learned about like the Black Sands Entertainment, the Ace Blade, the IDW, the Boom Studios, Dynamite, all these other companies that just showed up on my social media feeds. I was like, how in the heck did I miss all of these? And I watched all the physical, actual animations of them, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Sonic animations and movies. And I'm like, I mean, they're freaking comics as well. Even Power Rangers is a freaking comic. How the crap did I miss all of this? Was I deep in my circle that bad?
That's pretty wild because that was like the stuff I grew up on. So it
Yeah,
was like, Saturday morning cartoons with the X-Men, but it's like, you didn't.
yeah,
And when
right
you started to
there.
get comics, you were like, I got into 'em, but I was never like, I don't want to say obsessed with them. Like, I feel like that's just a negative word, but I was like, I loved them, but my attention span wasn't enough for a comic. It was just like flip through the pages, but I've always been able to read really fast. So like flip through them and I'd be like, oh, I'm done. I'd be bored.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
get that. And it's funny because now, like, I just bought a comic yesterday, day before. It's supposed to be here tomorrow. So I'm excited, but it's literally like
nice.
a Batman comic from 1987.
Holy smokes.
But it's got like there's a samurai element to it. And of course I'm playing Ghost of Yotai right now. So I'm like deep ingrained in
Nice.
like, yeah. And
That's a good one. That's a good
dude,
one.
it's so good. I literally just finished it and I'm just working to 100% it because that's what you do nowadays. You can't just beat a game. You have to get all the trophies but finding like a Batman samurai like collaboration almost 40 years ago. That to me is, it's
That's
insane. And
beautiful.
like I don't think Darth Maul is visible, but I just bought the Darth Maul pop that has the samurai too because I was like, that is too cool to pass up. But I get what you're
Uh,
saying. Like, sometimes you don't know that those mediums existed or
mhm.
what you were doing with them. And I'm almost, I don't want to say 20 years older than you, but I'm probably like 15 years older than you at this point. Like, and it's just so fun to hear like that there's people, even now, people are getting into things that I grew up with and they're just finding them for the first time. They're just getting into those things. And you find that there's different levels of nerddom, as I like to say.
Yeah.
Like, you think you're nerdy, and then you meet some people, and you go, "Wow, I'm not even like, I don't even like, I give up. Like, there's no way, like, I'm ever gonna hit that level of
I'm
know-how and
the
understanding."
dude, I'm like I knew I was a nerd meeting other people in like this community. I was like, okay, I need to step up. I'm not gonna give up. I need to step up. And it was like after reading like the independent comic books, my brain started going again. I was like, okay, how do they make these? So I asked that what if question again. I was like, and how questioning. And I was like, how do they make these? And so I kind of like want the people I could contact, like became mutuals with. I was like, how did y'all get into this? And like, how did you create these books? And they broke it down to me. I was like, you have to write a script. Is it like a movie? They say yes, but it's in more like panels instead of like a straight line of a page. I was like, panels. I was like, can you show me an example? And so as I read like some comic scripts online, how people do it, I was like, oh. I'm like, that's interesting. And then they did warn me about like scam artists. I was like, but you have to be careful because there's a lot of scam artists out there pretending to be what they're not and stealing art from actual artists. So be careful with that.
Gosh.
And so I was like, after like 2.5 years studying the craft of comic making, like how to budget and like the business and creative side of things. And then my first comic, Fire, was born
Sweet.
in I started writing it in 2023, and the first issue came out 2024.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah,
Seriously.
and then now I'm 2 issues in officially with Arcfire. I just sent out the digital awards Arcfire issue 2 to my backers on that Kickstarter. Now I'm finally finna get the physicals out so I can officially finish that. And Arcfire was that it had so many iterations of it as I was creating it. I was going like I don't know how to say it. I was going like a cycle of like what story do I want to make, and I was like, I'm like, what am I inspired by to do first? Like, I'm like, I love horror, I love fantasy, I love science fiction. I'm like, what is my strong suit?
Yeah, right.
And so, and so I had to stop. Like, your dad stop. I was like, okay, I need to shut my brain off for a minute and stop overthinking it and just let it flow.
Yeah, right.
And then as soon as I did that, my hand started moving. I was like, what is the arc I want to do? I was like, arc.
What's the art? Yeah.
The arc. And then I wrote out the storyline I want to do. I said, okay, that's fire. I'm like, wait, arc, fi arc fire, arc fire.
Love
It's
that,
like,
man. Like,
Now
that's
it's like,
fantastic.
and I wrote out like Arkfire. I was like, yeah. I was like, okay, but what if I change the I to a Y? How would it look? Arkfyre. Wait a minute.
That's fire.
And then I started getting the storyline in my head of what I want to do. Then I was like, what if I make the character kind of like me, but more of a supernatural type of thing? And so with Arcfire, I was kind of inspired like Alien, Stranger Things, The Man of Steel, and even Charmed. So the story started. The main character's name is Castillo Arcfire, and his story begins where he wakes up in a egg-like cocoon in a science lab,
Mm.
but he wakes up with no memory of who he is or how he got there. And so he's on this journey of basically self-discovery, trying to figure out, well, who the hell am I?
Yeah.
And that's part of me because I spent years trying to figure out who the hell I am. And he has this cosmic power within him that he learn how to control and figure out how he got this power. Like to me, how do I have my writing gift? How did I figure it out? So that's how I put myself into the character. And so in the Arcfire series, you're gonna meet in issue 2, you meet a witch named Coffee and a vampire named Cavell. So it's another mixture of like science fiction, horror elements, action, thriller elements to it too. And if you're a fan of like Avatar, The Last Airbender, it has like this that spiritual world aspect to it too, I will say. That I kind of bring it. Yeah, that's the word. Thank you. Yeah, that's the word. And so and so I have like 20 issues in my head I want to do, and then spin-offs of Arcfire because I want every character to tell their own story. And I've always learned like let your character write its own story, or like let your
Yeah.
story write itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. No,
And so that's how I kind of approach all of my stuff when I'm creating this. So
that's
yeah,
wild, dude. But I
and
get
and that's
the
the short story of from your first question, by the way.
but I get the writing thing. You know, I covered, mixed martial arts for 16 years, 15 years, I've lost count. And I stopped, but I would get to points where I'd go to write an article and I'd have that block. And the next thing you know, I'd like black out
Hmm.
and I'd come back to, and there'd be a whole thing written. And I'm like, and you would just get in that zone. And like you said, you're not hearing anything else. You're not seeing anything else. It's like reading a book.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I could only think of 2 books in my life that I didn't want to put down. Order of the Phoenix. I read that in like 2 hours. I
My
literally,
God, man, I have not read that in forever.
I literally got it the day it came out. My
Man,
grandmother at the time brought me home. I went to, one of the rooms in her house, shut the door. I didn't go to the bathroom. I didn't eat. I didn't drink. I literally just sat and read the book.
man,
And the other one was written by an MMA writer, somebody I would consider one of my idols, in Dwayne Finley, and it was In the Cold Distance. And it was him talking about his travels on the road, the stories that you would not believe if I didn't
mm,
know him and you didn't know like the propensity he had for storytelling. And it was one of
yeah,
those things where I started to read and I was like, I'd have to like pull myself away from it because I'd
hmm,
have to go to work or something. But I was like, I don't want to go. Like, I just want to read this. And it's amazing when something can captivate you like that.
oh yeah, oh
TV
yeah,
shows tend to do it to us more now because you're like, I got to watch the next one. I got to watch the next one. I got to
yeah,
watch the next.
yeah, that's true.
And we like to start watching shows years after everybody else has because then we don't have to wait every week.
Yep, because literally, well, I'm binge watching Lucifer on Netflix right now.
I've watched a few episodes. I like it. It's funny you mentioned Hellboy because even though I'm a fan of Hellboy and a fan of like Guillermo del Toro and obviously Doug Jones just doing a fantastic job showing up anywhere he can.
I love that. I love that.
Because we're watching Star Trek Discovery and he's in that and getting to see him in that. But I watched Hellboy for the first time like 2 weeks ago, which is
Really, what you
crazy to me.
think?
I loved it. I loved everything about it. I feel like the CG for 20 years ago,
Mm.
spectacular.
Wait, it
Spectacular.
was it was so much better.
Yeah. And I don't think it's much better today in certain capacities. Like I've seen
You're
movies with
you're
worse CG with bigger budgets, and I'm going, so Hellboy 2 is on the list next. So, but again, diving down that deep hole of you watch the movie and he
Mhm.
throws the comic. Ah, I hated that. And I was like, is that a prop or is that a real comic? And then I did exactly what you did. And I went down that rabbit hole and I was like, okay,
Yeah,
oh my gosh. Like,
Oh yeah.
all this stuff. So I
Oh
get
yeah.
that 100%. So,
Well, I will say when you get to the 2019 Hellboy, that one's a bit darker than the one
well, they
Perlman.
didn't use Ron Perlman for that one, did they? They used someone
No,
else.
it's David Harbour from Stranger Things.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Hopper. I was just about to say. I was like, wait, I know that.
Yeah, and then Quicken Man was good too.
Yeah,
Yeah, Hellboy Quicken Man, that was pretty good too.
I'll have to check it out.
So yeah, and that's a different guy as well. It's
Writing this stuff down already.
but
But dude,
yeah.
that's awesome. So, I mean, I feel like Hellboy will kind of segue us right into Halloween. You know, what you've got now where you combine, the horror element with the supernatural element with the clown element, which you could see me getting slightly uncomfortable because I just love clowns.
Sorry, not sorry.
No, it's funny. So my story about clowns is not that I've never been afraid of them. I've just never liked them. And I went to the circus when I was a little kid. I had brand new boots on. I remember all of
Yeah.
this. At least this is what I think I remember because you never know
Yeah.
sometimes what you actually know.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they
yeah.
put the spotlight on me, and the clown ran over, took my shoe,
No, not the spotlight.
ran over and put it on a little girl, grabbed her shoe, ran over to me and tried to put it on my foot. Everybody's laughing, everybody's having a good time. And I'm like, can I just have my shoe back? And so then, segue to what are we talking? 97? Spawn comes out. And
I love Spawn.
yeah,
I love Spawn.
I I hope they remake it, but at the same time I don't because that CG was bad. That CG was really bad.
They they actually have been working on it for years with Jamie Foxx. I don't know if they made a new update yet.
Listen, Michael Jai White can still play Spawn. The dude's still in shape. The dude still can do it. Like, let him
Yeah.
do it.
Oh yeah. That's true. But that dude's crazy talented.
But then you had John Leguizamo being the evil clown, and you're like, yeah, that. But it worked. He did it
Bruh,
so well.
the way he acted that part, oh my God.
Crazy.
I
I've
mean, I
seen it
think I
before.
think I think he's one of my original inspirations to be like a creature actor. Between him, Doug Jones, I've always said, I'm like, if I be an actor, I want to be a creature actor.
Yeah.
Between them and Andy Serkis, play
But yeah.
Gollum and Caesar, I was like, I want to train my voice and train and get my body coordinated so I can experience that. I was like, because I want to do. I'm like, yes, I'm weird. I want to do that. I'm like, I was like, I
Well, and I
want to play a
know,
leper. I want to play a leprechaun because it'd be fun to scare people.
when with Andy Serkis, like he did all the mocap too. Like he did all that
Yeah,
and like did
that's exactly why I want to get into that and like learn how to coordinate my body a certain way to actually move like
yeah.
those characters.
Well,
Yeah,
then you have Doug Jones in Hellboy, but being voiced by David Hyde Pierce, which was
phenomenal,
my brain exploded from that one
phenomenal.
just because it was so good. But even him as the faun in Pan's Labyrinth, like that's another one of my favorites because that movie is just dark all day long. Like there's
That's no way to sugarcoat that. It's a dark
no,
fantasy.
no.
It's a dark fantasy.
And when they put it out in the theaters a few years ago, we went and saw it because I was like, I need to see this on a big screen. And what's crazy is
Oh,
that it
that's so.
didn't translate. Like it needs to be in your living room,
Mhm,
intimate setting. I felt like it lost a little bit when you're staring at the screen because you're trying to look at everything.
mhm.
But on your TV at home, you're like, oh, okay, I got this. I got this. So yeah.
Yeah, I
The next time
agree.
Doug Jones does a con, I'm gonna definitely try to go just because of the fact that like what an inspiration, like what a character, a man who, tall, lanky, and he just really embodied all of that. And I'm sure
Agreed.
at one point he
Yeah,
hates being typecast, but at the same time, I also think he loves it because he's the only one who can do the moves and the movements and everything else. And he really is the character he's playing. So
agreed. I agree. I
that
agree.
was a nice side segue, but back to Halloween because I got to know more about it. Like coming up, it seems like in horror, everything's been done before. Everything's kind of a reiteration. Perfect example, Scream 7 is coming out.
It's actually pretty good.
Is it?
It's actually pretty good.
But I'm
I
like,
was
it seems like they're
I
doing the
will
same.
say they went the route I kind of expected they was going,
Yeah.
especially when they announced like the Ghostface from the past. I'm like they kind of went the route I knew they was gonna go.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still enjoyed it because I love Nev Campbell and I love Kevin Williamson. So I'm like I don't like how the company mistreated Melissa and Jenna. I'm like, of course, but I'm still a fan of Scream and I love Nev Campbell and Kevin. It was like at first when they announced that the Neff was coming back. I was like, okay.
Yeah. You're
What
like,
really
I'm in.
hooked was like, no, I wasn't in yet. I wasn't in yet because I was upset how they mistreated Melissa. I, was like, I love Nell, but the way they mistreated Melissa, I was like, I'm not gonna care to watch this movie. But then they fooled around and announced Kevin Williamson as director. I was like, fuck. It's like, crowd. It's like, fine, I'm in then. Jesus, because I love Kevin Williamson. That Scream is literally his baby with Wes
Yeah.
Craven. Wes Craven. It's like, ah. It's like, okay, fine, I'll freaking get it. And then they announced the the old Ghost Faces. It's like, they getting me intrigued. I was not gonna watch it.
I wasn't in. I'm like, oh man. Oh man.
It's like, but I was like, but I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I enjoy it.
That's solid. I'm sorry that I used Scream. I didn't realize like that would be.
No, you're good, man. But I was like, it was pretty. They went the route I thought that would make sense to go, which they actually did go the route that
Yeah.
makes sense to go.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that makes sense. And I actually predicted one of the killers because she has the killer face. So it's just the actress. I'm not. Oh, my bad. I don't want to. Just the actor
Listen,
person.
I'll put a disclaimer. Like, listen, if
Yeah.
anybody's watching this and gets mad that we spoiled that,
I was
come on
like,
now.
I did mention that one of the killers is a woman, but I'm not gonna say who it is. But
There
so
you
she
go.
just has a killer face. In every role she plays, she just has that type of intensity.
You and I
So
both know Riverside can cut it out. We can just be like,
yeah.
gone.
I was, I'm so sorry. But let's gear back to Halloween. But
Yeah. So tell me about the concept of the two clowns here. Like, what?
it's actually kind of funny. You actually brought up Scream. Scream was actually one of my inspirations for Halloween, if I'm being honest. Since you're talking about it. But Halloween is this is actually a funny story. Halloween has been in the works for about 4 years, actually, because it was my friend Evan and I. We were part of an independent film studio. I don't know how we started having a random conversation. We just nerded out and having a bromance about horror. And then he showed me like he had this clown mask that he has like whatever he was working at the time. And then I was like, we made a joke. I was like, what if we did like a horror clown story? He pitched it to me. He's like, what if we did like a horror clown story where it's a killer clown going around social media just finding random people to kill? I was like, just because, just because.
Just because.
And like, I was like, you know how crazy that will freaking be? And then it was like, but wait, what if it's not just one clown? What if it's like twin brothers and we name them Evan and Ethan and they run the exact same clown costume so you don't know which one's killing you? And I was like, you're crazy. That's freaking hilarious, but that should be a badass story. And then so we call it we call them the duplicate killers. And so I started out writing as a novel, but as I kept going about it, it's like I want to make it a comic. Or I started making comics. I want to make it a comic. And then I was like, at first I was calling the comic Duplicate Killer, but I was like, I want a one-word name.
Yeah.
One-word name. I think that would actually be easier to pronounce.
It'd hook better.
And hook the audience, whoever sees this. So one of the things is I was watching Halloween when I came up with it. I was like, Halloween. I was like, Halloween. I was like, Halloween. I was watching Halloween and I was thinking about if you're a wrestling fan for WWE, Bray Wyatt, he had to carry the Fiend. Then I was like, Halloween. Fiend. At first I was gonna put Halloween, but it sounded weird. I was like, so I took the D off. I was like, Halloween. And they said, oh, wait a minute. Let me try this. Halloween is one of the hardest stories I've ever written so far. Because I was dropping so many different things into the story. I was like, It's like I want to do a slasher, but I also want to do supernatural. I also want to do psychological. I also want to do some action. I also want to do some thriller. I was like, hell, let's put it together.
Yeah, just put it all together
somehow. And so I'm like, put some Scream vibe into it because there are a group of friends getting chased on social media by some clowns. And then I twisted it up because in Halloween, twin brothers Ethan and Evan have been dead for years. Yeah. So these two clowns that are hunting over friends are that's gonna spoil it. Never mind. These two clowns are trying to up the ante of Evan and Ethan because Evan and Ethan went around with one person on social media.
Yeah.
But these two clowns going after a full-fledged group of friends. When you're reading it, you're asking, okay, what's the connection? Why are they going after an entire group of friends?
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's like, is this like a cult-like thing? They want to be famous, but more famous than Evan and Ethan?
Mm-hmm.
Or are they related to them somehow? Or could it be some of the friends that's hunting or something more?
Yeah.
And it's like as I kept writing, I was like, I don't want to make it like a full-fledged series because I don't want like what people say, milk the franchise.
Yeah, exactly.
So right now I have it as this two-parter, but as the more I keep talking about it and keep bringing it up, it might actually become a trilogy
You got to
because
do the
that
trilogy, man. Come on.
you're the first person to tell me that. I was like, oh, God. It's like, like, but the more I keep thinking about it, and the more I keep looking at pages, I was like, yeah, this might actually be a trilogy.
Yeah.
I
Listen,
was
The
like,
Dark Knight, that trilogy, I know there's been way more than 3 Batman movies, and we could contest Batman's
yeah,
all night long.
yeah,
I
and
guarantee that.
I've already made up my mind. I remember somebody asked me if I was gonna like do a prequel, like a spin-off prequel, like the backstory of Evan and Ethan. I was like, no, you're not.
No,
I was like,
weave
you're
that
going.
into the third one. Like
No,
weave it
like
in like
yeah, I'm like you're going to see their backstory in the Hallowfien books. I'm like I'm not gonna do like a full-fledged spin-off about. I don't want to do the norm where you do a prequel and then a sequel and then I'm like I'm going to just tell you the straight up in the freaking comic in the
yeah,
comics. And so but yeah, and so it's one of the hardest stories I've done. And so I got inspired by like Pennywise, like Welcome to Derry, Halloween, The Scream. So that's like kind of like my basic inspiration. And I kind of like I take certain concepts but twist it up and make it my own original thing.
yeah.
And that's really why it's one of my hardest things I've ever done so far. And then recently, somebody's like asked me like, "Are you doing like the horror rules?" I'm like, I don't like doing rules. That's boring. That's depressing. I'm like, no.
Yeah, well, the horror rules sometimes are dumb. This
Yeah, really are. I'm like, but each character that I create, I want to be relatable some way and somehow. I don't want to be like the story that be led by one person.
yeah,
Like for us, like the Scream franchise, Sydney's the lead, and everyone's going after her. Like Halloween, Laurie's the lead, and stuff like that. My stories, everyone has a lead part. It's just in there, in because each character tell their own story.
that's crazy, man.
And also I will give this hint: when you look at the main cover, well, it's the only cover, but look at the cover, Halloween, the characters are positioned a certain way on purpose. So that's a hint right there as to what the lore is going to explore as you explore the lore in the series.
Dude, I love that. How
Yeah.
close are you to getting the second one done? I know you had the Kickstarter for Arcfire. Where are we at with Halloween? Like, where are we at with getting that out?
So I'm still editing issue 2 of the script. But technically, I'm still editing issue 1 of the script because I'm changing some things up as the Kickstarter going. But we're editing, like, basically in the editing process of 1 and 2. Art-wise, we're in the editing process of 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I still have to finish writing issue 2. Like I say, it's one of the hardest stories, so I have like so many ideas I'm putting into it. Like, if I'm being honest, not Arcfire, Jesus, Halloween, Halloween issue 1. I'm trying to keep it about 24 pages because it's the first book,
Okay.
and I'm trying to keep it little like under 30. But in issue 2, it's probably going to be a tad bit more because there's a lot more story to tell.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then a potential issue 3. So I'll say issue 1's 24. Let's say about issue 2, maybe 30, maybe 35, depending on if the artist needs to split up a page with like action wise. And issue 3, that's a to be determined, but I'm pretty sure it's probably going to average out in the same range of like 30 to 35.
Look, Lord of the Rings, like,
Yeah.
Return of the King was what, 3.5 hours in the
Yeah.
theater, like,
So
let alone. So sometimes the middle one can, bridge that gap of get me into the story. The
yeah.
first one gets me in, the second one, keeps me, and the third one I gotta have. Like that's
Yeah.
just how that
And
works.
so,
So
and I will say, I know for issue 2, I will show the backstory of Evan and Ethan. So you have to wait to issue 2 for that to get the backstory of them.
even better.
Because issue 1, I'm introducing these new clowns and these excuse me, and these group of friends, and I'm taking you on a terror train. Yeah, because with me, when I'm writing horror, I'm not trying to like jump scares or like anything. I was like, I want you to feel that intensity when you're reading the story. I'm not. If it scares you, that's a bonus for me. Uh, because everyone thinks because you're doing horror, you have to be scary. So they do these cheap jump scares, so try to get like a cheap reaction. So with me, when I'm writing it, I want you to be pissed at the characters first. I want you to also love some characters, and then if they get killed off, I want you to be pissed at me and yell at me. Why do you kill that person? I love him or her. I was like, That's the point. Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
glad you enjoyed it.
And I'll speak to this just because it's relevant. So like Stranger Things, spoilers if anybody hasn't seen it. I mean,
It's
at this
been
point,
2 months. I hope you've seen it by now.
Derek. So when Derek gets taken, the only thing we know
Yeah,
about Derek is that he's douchebag Derek. Like we don't like literally he got taken
yeah,
and I went, I don't care. I said
yeah,
I didn't care at all. I said within the
yeah,
next episode they made us love that kid. And I was like,
yeah.
that's how you do it. I said, you
That's
just
yeah,
indiscriminate like this person's gone. And
yeah,
then they take him and you're like, all right. I was like, now I'm invested.
yeah. That's exactly how I try to approach my writing. It's like I want each character to be important to somebody.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I love that. On that note, man, I have an idea.
Okay.
We're gonna wrap it up today, but I think we need to do this more often. Like, I love hearing the stories about it and like getting the updates about it. So I feel like this is something we could do, and I'll probably cut all this out because everyone's gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" But like, let's try and knock these out like more than just the one time, and then that's good, man. I love hearing the process, and I feel like you've got so much more to tell. But this way, this is our episode one. This is letting people ruminate and, dwell on like, oh, what are they going to talk about
I was,
next? Like, what's
I
going to
was like,
happen next? Like,
it'll
what are
be
we going to
fun.
find out?
I was like, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be cut out, but it'll be funny if we made a podcast together and we just talk about our stories. I was like, we're having a Kevin Z Fate and Gojing a crossover merger.
Oh, man, I love that.
I'm like,
Yeah.
season
And
one.
yeah. Well, that was the whole thing. And like I said, I'll wrap it up and then I'll cut all this out. But like the whole idea is that like, I did the podcast. I started it during COVID because I didn't like the sound of my own voice and I don't like being on camera. So I was like, let's do a video podcast and really like push it. And I got to interview fighters all over the world. I interviewed a guy in Japan. I interviewed Sherman Augustus, who was on Stranger Things later. But I
Oh, I'm
interviewed him and like,
jealous.
dude, one of the
Oh,
nicest human beings I've ever
oh,
spoken
I
with.
hope I get to interview them. I'm so jealous.
Dude, reach out. He's a good dude. Like he's a good dude.
Oh man, awesome.
But he stole the Chinese broadsword from
Of
Into the
course he did.
Badlands.
Of course he did.
And he pulled it on screen and I like screamed like a girl. I was like, I don't even care.
Of
I
course
was
he
like,
did. I expect nothing less. I
yeah.
expect nothing less.
So with that, man, send me all your links, all the Kickstarters, all that stuff. I'll put it in the episode. But, thanks. That's all I have to say is thanks. Thanks for coming on. I'm glad we finally got to do this. I'm loving the stories. I love hearing about how you got to where you are and how this became your thing and that drive that you've gotten again.
And everything I said, that was just that's not even half of it. What I
Yeah,
said.
that's what I'm saying. Talking to you, I could tell there's so much more that we won't get through in one episode. So I was
Yeah.
like,
I mean, that's gonna be an entire season of just us talking about
yeah,
it. So, yeah.
we'll just blend them together and they're going to be like, what
I'm like,
happened?
hey, we just schedule the next episode so we can just go ahead and put everything.
Yeah, right. I'll look at calendars. We'll get things figured out, brother. But again, thank you so much for coming on, guys. I hope you like the Quiggin Out podcast. I know we changed it up. Not just about fighters anymore, but the thing I'm passionate about: music, art, comics, movie, like whatever we want to talk about. And anybody who's seen me, like I'm wearing a Stay Tuned Records hat. It's a local record store here. They didn't pay me to do this. They're not asking me to do this. They're probably like, why are you doing this? But I wore this hat to support because again, we're back to that tangible medium. Like everybody wants something physical,
Yeah,
whether it's
which
ticket
is beautiful.
stubs, whether it's
Beautiful.
comic books. There's just something about holding it in your hands, and even some people are weird, like the smell of an old book. There's nothing like it. It's
Speaking of old books, since you brought that up, I found my Percy Jackson books that I forgot I had. And not just the Percy Jackson, I also have the Rick's other series, the Throne of Fire book. I think it's called Throne of Fire.
Mhm.
But his other series that expands his universe. I forgot I have those books. Now I'm about to reread.
We could talk about. I've never read them, so I think that'd be an interesting thing. Obviously, I've seen parts of the movies. I don't want to say I've seen them all, but I've started to realize
Well,
that
I
as
will
these
say
movies come out, I've gotten too far behind to catch
I
up.
will I will say I skipped the movies. Watch the TV show. Watch the Percy Jackson TV show.
Even better,
Yeah, skip
even better.
because the TV show is a bit more accurate than the movies are compared to the
Perfect.
books. Of course, they still have to cut out some stuff from the book because the book is you can't put everything into a budget,
No,
basically.
yeah,
But they
exactly.
still plus they're limited episodes. So, but it's the show. Watch the Percy Jackson show. It's on Disney Plus. Disney produces it.
Perfect.
you will have more of a blast of a time watching the show than the movies, if I'm being honest.
Awesome, man.
So you ain't missing nothing with the movies. You don't, yeah, just watch the show.
Perfect, man.
There are 2 seasons in. Season 3 comes later this year. They're on Disney Plus, and let me know what you think. But yeah, check out the shows. Check out the show,
Definitely.
and
Yeah.
just go ahead and skip the movie. If you want to see the movie, the only thing you that is watching the woman who plays Annabelle because she's beautiful as hell. That's about it. But that's about it. But yeah,
There you go, man.
just skip that. Just watch the show.
Well, I appreciate the homework that is about to come with that.
Yeah. So
But
that's
really, man,
scratch off your list. Do not watch the movies. Don't waste your time.
yeah,
Watch the show.
do not watch the movies. But Kevin, dude, I had a blast. Like I said, we'll definitely do it again soon. But thanks for coming on and hanging out with us.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, take it easy, man.